Hello students, welcome to the video tutorial of Informatics Practices for class 12. Today we'll be discussing the first part of the chapter, Societal Impacts. Now students, in this modern world today, we are surrounded by computers, okay? The different internet connections are there, many servers are there, many networkings are there, around which our society is moving around, okay? So obviously it is means this modern world of technology, which is highly dependent on this networking and internet, is going to cause or have some impacts over the society, okay? Now these impacts could be positive impacts also and some negative impacts also, okay? So they are creating impacts over the society. That's why we are having this chapter on this particular topic, that is societal impacts, okay? Now let's see about the outline, that what are the basic parts which we have to discuss about in this chapter. So first is the introduction, okay? Then we will discuss about the digital footprint. Then we'll discuss about the net and communications etiquettes, then ethical issues, open source philosophy, copyright and other licenses, then cybercrime, cyber law and IT Act, then e-waste management, and the health concerns with the technology uses. Okay, so all these things have to be covered in this chapter. Okay, so now let's start with the introduction part. We are now living in an era called the information age, where we see the most our activities are technology influenced, be it making an online payment, creating or development of own piece of art or information. Now you know these things, okay? Because already I've told you that today in this modern world we are highly influenced by the technology, okay? So the online payments and development of any piece of art, all these things are dependent over this internets only, okay, systems only. So with the reach of technology to our day-to-day life, there has been a paradigm shift, and it has also raised specific issues and problems related to the society. Now as we are totally dependent over this modern tools or technology, so it has also created some issues, okay, or the problems which is related to the society and the ethics and the laws, okay. So in this chapter we are going to talk about those things, that is the intellectual property rights, what is the plagiarism, cybercrime, and all these things, okay. Now let's start with the email etiquettes, that what are the etiquettes which you should follow while you are using an email service, okay. So email, you know that it is an electronic mail, so it is important that whether for business or personal use, that we should follow the basics of email etiquettes, okay. Following lines enlist some important email etiquettes that everyone needs to be aware and follow, okay. So the first thing is be concise and to the point. That means whatever the things you are writing in the email, it should not be very long and very bulky, okay. It should be in smaller amount of data, okay. It should be precise, okay, concise and precise, okay. And you should use proper spelling and grammar and punctuation, so that it will have a positive impact over the reader. Otherwise, if you are using some foul spellings and some you are committing some grammatical mistakes, so obviously it is going to create a means bad remark over a bad impact over the reader of your email, okay. Next thing is use a proper structure and layout. So that is important thing, that when you are going to send any email to someone, obviously it should be properly aligned, okay. And should and the layout of that particular email should be clear, so that it will not cause any problems in reading the emails, okay. So since reading from a screen is more difficult obviously from reading from paper, so the structure and layout is very important, okay. Next thing is do not write in capitals, okay. Whenever means whenever you are writing a mail to someone, then you should write it in a simple running handwriting, okay. So if you are writing a running handwriting, obviously you are not having the writing feature over here. So what you need to do, you need to write the mixed words in that, okay. You should not use all the letters in capitals, okay. Only use the first letter or the first alphabet as the capital, and then as you are writing the particular typing any text, so you have to be aware of those things, okay. Don't write all the letters in the capitals, okay. Add an email disclaimer. Now you know that whenever you are sending any particular files over the internet, it may have some virus or junk mails, okay. So to avoid these things, that suppose if someone is downloading it, you have to give a disclaimer to it that it may contain some virus or foul mails, okay. So that means it is not very important for you, but it has to go for the etiquettes, okay. That's why we are talking about the societal impacts, that these things have to be followed. It is not necessary, it is not in the rules, but if you are going to follow these things, it is going to have a positive impact, okay. So you should add a disclaimer over it, okay. Now handle abbreviations and emoticons with care. It may be possible that whenever you are writing some mail to someone, you may be using some abbreviations. Okay, for example, here btw. It is not clear to everyone that what does btw means. Okay, some people may recognize it that you are saying that by the way here, but maybe some people are going to have problems with these abbreviations. Okay, so they may be means kept guessing for those things, that what may this influence or what may they mean. Okay, so you have to be very careful that wherever you are using, whenever you are writing the mails, you have to use the abbreviations. So okay, now you have to use the emoticons also. Emoticons means the images or the emojis you are using in that particular chat or the email. Okay, so that has to be handled with the care. It may be that the smiley faces and all those things are not going to create some positive impact over the readers. So try to minimum use them. Okay. Next thing is the gender sensitivity. Sorry, sensitivity. Now the gender sensitivity means you, maybe there is a possibility that the person who you are sending the mail is not known to you. He may be a male or female. So in that case, whatever the content you are writing, it should not be uh, inclined toward a particular gender. Okay, it should be gender common. Okay, so whenever you are writing those things, it should be gender neutral. Okay, so the next thing is, here you can see, for example, if you're using gendered noun like man, woman, so that may create some confusion. Suppose if you are writing in the mail like a man or a woman, so there may be a case that the particular person is not woman, that particular person is a man. Okay, so he may be feeling, means he may feel like why he has written these things. Okay, I am a man and he's written about a woman, so that may cause some, means, sensitivity for that person. Okay, for the gender issues. Okay, so you should use some gender neutral nouns like the person or the individual, so that can be taken for both the genders. Okay, similarly mankind, so mankind is inclined towards man. Okay, so you have to use these names like people, human beings, humanity. Okay, like these type of things. Okay, so whenever you are going to write these things, so they will not have a gender sensitivity to a person. Okay, you should always use this gender neutral nouns. So all these things comes under the email etiquettes. Okay, next thing is the ethical issues. Now what is the ethical issues? These days we can easily say that our society is information society and our era is information era. As we all know that information is the means to acquire knowledge. In other words, we can say that information forms the intellectual capital for a person or body. However, there are many ethical issues involved with the uses of availability of information. So obviously, many things are available over the internet. Many data are available over the internet. So there should be a proper ethical use of those information. Okay, it should not be misused in any terms. Okay, and it should not be interpreted in such a way that it may harm a particular section of the society. Okay, so all these things comes under the ethical issues. Okay, now the common ethical issues are the intellectual property rights, the digital property rights, and the plagiarism. Okay, so let's first discuss about the intellectual property rights. So intellectual property rights are the rights of the owner of the information to decide how much information is to be exchanged, shared, or distributed. Now it totally depends upon the owner of the information. Okay, suppose a person is having some data of his own. Okay, he has put a lot of efforts for creating that information or for assembling those data. Okay, so if he has worked so hard on that, definitely he needs an ownership over that data. Okay, you know that things for creation they need so much time. Okay, but once if it is on the internet, everybody can copy it and misuse it. Okay, so they can give it their own names. So all these things are not ethical from the societal point of view. Okay, so these things comes under the intellectual property rights, that the owner of the information should have some considered considerable amount of rights over that data. Okay, so he should be able to decide whether he wants to share that data or not, whether he wants to distribute that data or not, whether he wants to exchange that data or not, and even if he wants, what should be the terms of exchanging those information, whether he wants some payment for it or he's sending it for free. Okay, so all these things comes under this intellectual property rights. So the ethical issues involved with it is that information must not be exchanged without the consent of its owner. So whosoever has created that information, he should be known about those sharing of the informations. Okay, so the intellectual property rights must be protected for it. First thing is encourages individuals and business to create new software. Obviously, if there is a stoppage over the copied items, okay, the people will be encouraged to create new ideas and individuals, okay. So that will create a boost in the business, okay. New ideas and technologies will be widely distributed, and then it promotes investment in the national economy. Okay, so all these things comes under this intellectual property rights. Okay, and why should it be protected? These reasons are there. That is, encourages individuals and business to create new software, and it will also ensure new ideas and technology, and also it will promote investment in the national economy. Okay. Next thing is the digital property rights. Now, this digital property right is referring to any information about you or created by you. Okay, either is the information about you or it is the information which is created by you that exists in a digital form. Okay, so obviously it is actually the intellectual property right, but it is in a digital form. Okay, so all those things which you are having digitally, which is created by you or it is about you, so you are having rights over those things. So that is considered under this digital property rights. Okay, or you can say it is a digital assets. You are not having a physical asset, you are having a digital asset in this case. Okay, so examples of the digital property include any online personal accounts, okay, such as your email or your, you can see your Netflix accounts or these things. Okay, all these things come under digital property rights. The online storage accounts, the websites and the blogs that you have created or you are managing. So all those things comes under digital property rights. Okay, so digital property rights lie with the owner. Legally, a person who has created it or the owner who has got it developed by paying legally is the legal owner of the digital property. So it may be a case that you have not developed it, but you have paid some certain individuals to create that data. Okay, so in that case also you have paid it legally or you have owned it in a proper legal manner. Okay, then also it is going to belong to you only, so you can have a digital property over it. Okay, and the only the user or the owner can use and decide who all and in what form he or his or her digital asset may be used. Okay, so also it is a digital property, it is influenced by the internet also. They may have some threats over it also. Now let's see what are the threats to the digital properties. So the first thing is the digital software penetration tools. So these are the means cracks. Okay, or you can say they are meant by the hackers. They are using these software penetration tools to get access to your particular account. Okay, you must have heard about different software tools which help you in cracking the means paid softwares or the paid licenses. Okay, so although one needs to buy rights or license to use a digital property, there are many software penetration tools such as cracks and keygens tools created by the hackers to penetrate your software's registration system and enable unauthorized users to freely access your software without actually paying for it. Now, suppose Netflix is having their different accounts for multiple users, so you have to pay a certain set of amount to that Netflix. Okay, but still people are there who are hacking those accounts. Okay, they are able to generate genuine account without even paying for it. So actually, they are using some software penetration tools to get into the security of those softwares, okay, or the particular accounts, and they are able to create a fake account from those things. Okay, and they are not giving any paid or charges for them. Okay, so obviously it is a threat to a digital property. Okay, stealing and plagiarizing code of your digital properties. So sometimes other developers somehow get hold of your software source code and then create plagiarized versions. Okay, you must have seen about these things also. That there are certain softwares which copy those softwares and that may seem like the original software only. Okay, they are going to provide you all the information which is similar to those softwares. Okay, so but actually what they are doing, they are plagiarizing the codes of those genuine softwares. Okay, so that also comes under this threat of digital properties. Okay, now how you can protect these digital properties? So the first thing is the anti-tamper solutions. Okay, so what are these anti-tamper solutions? There are many anti-tamper solutions available today which ensure that your digital property is tamper proof. These anti-tamper solutions use a host of advanced technologies to prevent hackers from hacking. Okay, so they will prevent the hackers from getting into your security region of this particular account. Okay, reverse engineering or manipulating your digital properties such as utility tools, software apps, video games, and so forth. So, okay, they are going to provide you the anti-tamper solution. Okay, they are going to provide you a protection over your digital properties. Okay, Next thing, the legal clauses. So the legal clauses, in the clauses of your use of your digital software properties, you must include a transparent clause in your software terms of service that prohibits the scrapping of your software source code for reuse. So you can give a legal clause over that, that if you are going to copy these source codes into your own software, so that you can be charged with a legal action. Okay, so this is a sound legal backup for you. Next thing is the limit the sharing of software code. So you should share your software code only with the trusted individuals who are part of the development team. Okay. Obviously, then more you are going to share your code, more you are giving a security threat to your softwares. Okay. So it should be limited with the particular set of individuals who are involved in developing those softwares. Okay. So basically, you should share it among the team who has developed it. Okay, so you should also use a digital rights management DRM solution to protect your software from being scrapped or source code using decompilers, etc. Okay, so all these things come under the digital property rights protection. Okay, so that is the anti-tamper solution, the legal clauses, and the limit of the sharing of the software code. Okay, next thing is the plagiarism. So what is a plagiarism? You must have studied in class 9, 10th also about these things. That plagiarism is basically talking about stealing or theft. Okay, so plagiarism is stealing someone else's intellectual work and representing it as your own work without citing the source of information. Okay, so suppose if you have got a particular set of information from somewhere, from a particular individual's blog or somewhere else. Okay, now if you are using it as your own information, so that is not legally correct. Okay, you cannot use someone else's work as your own work. Okay, even if you are using it, you have to give credit to that particular user. But if you are not doing it, you are stealing the information and you are representing it as your own information. So actually that is a false allegation from a particular people. Okay, so in that case, you may be a victim for the plagiarism. Okay, you cannot say victim. You are, means you can be said as a, means you are creating some crime for these. Okay, actually it is a digital crime for in these cases. So you are not allowed to do these things. Okay, so these things comes under this plagiarism. So the plagiarism is stealing someone else's intellectual work and can be an idea, literary work, or academic work, etc., and representing it as your own work. Now any of the following acts would be termed as plagiarism: using some other's author work without giving credit to the author. Okay, using someone else's work in incorrect form that intended originally by the author or the creator. I've zoomed it. I think that was not clear to you because I think it was not zoomed properly, so I've zoomed it. Now, see, any of the following acts would be termed as plagiarism: using some other author work without giving credit to the author, using someone else's work in incorrect form that intended originally by the author or the creator. Okay, modifying, lifting someone's production, such as music composition, etc., without attributing it to the creator of the work. So all these things I've already discussed. That in all these cases, what you are doing, you are taking someone else's work and you are representing it as your own work. So you are not legally allowed to do these things. Only you are allowed if you are giving credit to that person. Okay, and that also depend upon the creator of the information, whether he wants the information to be represented by giving a clause to you, or directly he wants payment from these things. Okay, so if he is giving you the consent that yes, you can use the particular information without giving my credit, then also it is allowed. But if he has told you that you have to give the credit to me but you don't need to pay any charge to me, then also it is allowed. And if also if he is saying that yes, you can use the information but you need to pay some things to him. Okay, so it totally depends upon the owner of the information. Okay, so how he is expecting you to use his information. Okay, so whatever the information, whatever the permissions he has given or the author has given to you, if you are working under those permissions, then it is fine. Otherwise, if you are going out of the permission or out of the bounds, so in that case you are committing a cyber crime here. Okay, digital crime or a cyber crime, and this is the plagiarism. Okay, giving incorrect or incorrect source of information, that is wrongful citation. Now, it is also possible that you are giving some wrong source of information. You have used that information from somewhere else, but you are presenting the link or the source of information from somewhere else. So in that case also you are using the plagiarism only. And failure in giving credit, all these things comes under this in plagiarism. Okay, so now next thing is how not to plagiarize. So, as most universities put in their student handbook, to avoid plagiarism, you must give credit whenever you use. So, first thing is another person's idea, opinion, or theory. So, if you are using someone other's personal idea or opinion or theory, so you must give credit to him. Quotations, if you are using quotations of someone else, so you need to mention the creator of that quotation, that whosoever the person who has spoken those things or who have said those things, so you need to give the credit to them. Okay, paraphrase or another person spoken or written word, so all these things need to give up credit to those things. Okay, so it is already mentioned in most of the universities that in their student handbook they have to give these things. Okay, they have to give the credit to the owner of the information. Now, plagiarism is offense. If plagiarism involves copying not only ideas but also a substantial portion of a copyrighted work without attribution and without permission, it would amount to both copyright infringement and the violation of the special rights of the author to be credited. Okay. Now, copyright infringement and the violation of author's right to be credited are both civil wrongs and criminal offenses. That only I have told you. Okay, that actually plagiarism is a crime, and if you are doing plagiarism, it is a cyber crime. Okay, so all these things comes under the copyright infringement. Okay, and the violation of author's right. A civil suit may be instituted and criminal charges may also be filed. So if you are violating these things, if you are doing the plagiarism, so there may be a problem for this copyright infringement. So a civil suit may be instituted and criminal charges may be also filed over that particular person. Okay. Both civil suit and criminal charges are punishable offences and amount to fine and penalty. So you may have to give a higher amount of fine or penalties for plagiarism. Okay. Next thing is the open source philosophy. So, what is meant by the open source philosophy? Open source software is used to refer to those categories of software programs whose licenses do not impose much conditions. Okay, so whenever you're talking about open source, so actually you are saying that the information is free to use. Okay, it is open, anybody can easily go and download it. So such software generally give users freedom to run use the software for any purpose to study and modify the program and to redistribute copies of either the original or modified programs. Okay, so they are giving you the open source philosophy. So actually they are giving you full permissions to access those data and also to modify those data. So you can use this data in your own terms. Okay, so there are many categories of software that may be referred to as open source software. The following subsection is going to talk about the same, free software and open source software. So all okay, I think it's enough for today. So all these things which is under this open source philosophy can be discussed later on in the next videos. Okay, because I think it is getting complex now. Too many terms will confuse you in your day. Okay, so we'll make next part of the video for these things. We'll be discussing about these licenses and the definitions, all these things. Okay. So till then, students, take care. Thank you so much.